Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. 50,000 rupees compensation for each COVID death. The centre says to the Supreme Court this will be the compensation amount even for future COVID deaths. The compensation will be provided by states from the State Disaster Fund and compensation claims to be paid within 30 days. The Prime Minister leaves for America. There he will have a one-on-one with President Joe Biden, also attend the Quad Summit. The Prime Minister will be flying over Pakistan airspace to avoid Kabul. Pakistan clears an Indian flight for the first time since 2019. Now the United Kingdom accepts the Indian vaccine Covishield, but the vaccine is accepted, not India's vaccine certificates. Is this vaccine racism? India says the CoWIN app is fully WHO compliant. Same port, same company. Was heroin brought in a June consignment as well? Documents show a huge consignment from Afghanistan of so-called talcum came in June. Sources say the third consignment was also expected shortly. Who are the husband-wife importers shielding? The National Single Window System is launched. It's a soft launch of a single window system for investors and government clearances. The centre promises end-to-end support. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee campaigns for her election. She tells the Prime Minister and Home Minister won't let India become a Taliban state. Meanwhile, BJP central leaders and ministers campaign for the BJP candidate. Ex-Chief Minister Amrinder Singh's open battle against Navjot Singh Sidhu and the Congress. He says, I won't let Sidhu become Chief Minister, will field a strong candidate against him. He also attacks the Central Congress coterie as he says, no response yet from the Congress. Over 2,000 rhino horns are burnt in Assam on World Rhino Day, a strong anti-poaching message. Our lead story tonight, well after the Supreme Court had said that each COVID death in India must be compensated, the centre today told the Supreme Court that 50,000 rupees will be paid for each victim of COVID. This 50,000 rupees amount will apply for future COVID deaths as well. Sukirti has the details. Sukirti, what exactly has been decided and how can families who are grieving actually apply for this compensation?
Well, yes, there's a detailed procedure that the centre has given details of in its affidavit that they filed in the Supreme Court. In the affidavit says that Rupees 50,000 is to be provided as compensation for each death that takes place due to COVID. The compensation will include and apply to all past as well as future deaths. It will be given to families of even those who were involved in COVID relief operations or associated in preparedness activities. These funds will be given by the state governments from the State Disaster Response Fund. The implementation responsibility is upon the district administration. As far as the application procedure is concerned, the families will have to fill up forms that will be provided by the state governments. These will then have to be submitted to the local administration. They will verify, the District Disaster Management Authority will then verify the claims that have been made in these forms, and the final disbursement would also be done by them. Another important factor here is that the centre says that all of these claims must be settled within a span of 30 days from when all the documents have been submitted. So in terms of the scale of the task that is at hand, it is humongous. Over 4 lakh people have died due to COVID already in India, and because this also applies to any future deaths that take place due to COVID, so the numbers are only going to get bigger, and the responsibility has been put upon the state governments. The state governments, of course, some of them, for example, Madhya Pradesh or Bihar or even Delhi, have announced some compensation already for COVID victims, at least to each family. Delhi has said it would give about 50,000. Madhya Pradesh had said it would give about 1 lakh rupees.
Of course, they can give more if they want to, but a standard compensation,
so those
a standard minimum amount has now actually been fixed all across India, with the centre telling the Supreme Court 50,000 rupees for each COVID death. It won't bring back the people who've gone, but it will provide some help to families, especially where the main bread earner has died. Well, the other big headline is the Prime Minister has left for his America visit. He will return on the 26th of September. That's Sunday. He's accompanied by the National Security Advisor and the Foreign Secretary as well. Well, the main elements of his visit will include a bilateral with the US President Joe Biden and also a meeting with the Quad leaders, the US, Australia, Japan and India, and the United Nations General Assembly address. This is his first physical visit abroad since the pandemic began. Also, what's interesting is that the Prime Minister will fly over Pakistan airspace. This has been done so the Prime Minister's flight can avoid Afghan airspace. And this also is in a sense reciprocal because apparently India also allowed Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's flight to cross Indian airspace when he was visiting Sri Lanka earlier this year. Well, the other big headline, a new twist in the UK vaccine racism row. The United Kingdom has now said that Covishield is approved. That's the Indian version of AstraZeneca, which is licensed and used in India. But the vaccination certification process, the CoWIN app, is not approved yet. Now, that's really ironic considering so many countries around the world have asked India to how to implement the CoWIN app in their countries as well. And also the fact that the centre has now said that this is a discriminatory policy by the United Kingdom.
We are now saying we're getting rid of the green and amber list. India was amber, and we're saying anyone who is from either of those lists now, you come in and you quarantine for 10 days unless you are double jabbed with one of the British regulators approved vaccines, which includes AstraZeneca and, to be clear, includes Covishield. So Covishield is not the issue. For the last couple of weeks, we've been having detailed technical conversations between basically the builders of the apps of the UK and India, because India has the CoWIN app, we have our NHS app in the UK, and those folks have been talking to each other. Right, how does your app work? How does that work? What are the security protocols? All this because we hope it will be mutual, yeah?
Watch that full interview at 8:30. Meanwhile, the latest on the COVID data, well, we're under 30,000 at just nearly 27,000 cases in the last 24 hours. The deaths, however, are still high at 383. The daily positivity rate is less than 2%. The recovery rate is high, the highest since March 2020. Overall cases continue to be down. Well, moving to the latest news now, that more questions about the drug seizure at India's Mundra port just a few days ago, because now the latest documents show that a similar consignment to the same company, which is just supposed to be a husband-wife company, actually came in June. So what is the actual amount of heroin which has come into India from Afghanistan since June at the same port, the same company? Now reports that there could have been a third consignment scheduled as well. There are currently raids being carried out in Delhi and Noida where more kilos of heroin has been seized, all apparently linked to the Mundra or the Adani port consignment. Meanwhile, the Adani group issued a statement today saying that as people who own the port, as a company which runs the port, they can't actually inspect any container. Only the government can do that.
There could be more than 3,000 kgs of heroin that's been smuggled into India. Investigating agencies are probing this after the 15th September seizure in Gujarat's Mundra port. Sources say a similar consignment came in June 2021 of 24 tons, marked as talc stone, via the same Gujarat port and is said to have been transported to Delhi. Security agencies are trying to find out if heroin was smuggled in that import consignment as well. Now the drug trail is widening. Investigation has revealed that the drug consignment, concealed as semi-processed talc stones, was exported by Kandahar-based company Hassan Hussain Limited in Afghanistan, and it was shipped through Bandar Abbas port in Iran to Mundra port in Gujarat, imported by Ashi Trading Company, located in Vijayawada, but owned by a Chennai-based couple. And the agency suspects that this consignment too was intended to be delivered in Delhi. There is in fact said to be a third consignment that came through the same Mundra port and again marked as semi-processed talcum stone. The common link between the three shipments is that all of them had the same number on the country of origin certificates, which are now thought to be fake. But interestingly, this one had a different Afghani supplier and this time a Delhi importer. While the Directorate of Revenue Intelligence is tight-lipped on the ongoing pan-India operation to nab the big players involved in the syndicate, sources have told NDTV that the Vijayawada-based company was only a name lender and the arrested couple may not have known about the heroin consignment that was put below 2 layers of talc stones in powder. Investigators say the place of origin for the consignment is Nimruz province in Afghanistan, where talc is not produced. 5 more individuals, including 4 Afghan nationals, have been arrested. The address of Ashi Trading Company that was on the consignment bill is this house in Vijayawada, belonging to Govindaraju Taraka. Her daughter Vaishali and son-in-law Sudhakar were arrested in Chennai on Saturday. The couple Sudhakar and Vaishali had got GST registration in August 2020 and used their export-import license in order to import the consignments, and they were paid 30,000 rupees for every container and 3 lakh rupees for customs clearances and transport to Delhi. They were in fact expecting 2 more consignments to arrive shortly.
1,75,000 करोड़ के 25,000 किलो हीरोइन ड्रग्स कहां गए, जो तथाकथित तौर से जून में आए थे इसी अडानी पोर्ट से.
Adani Group, which operates the Mundra port, says, "We have no policing authority over the containers or the millions of tons of cargo that pass through the terminals in Mundra or any of our ports."
Sources in central agencies say that the large seizure of drugs being reported in India and Sri Lanka in recent time shows that the drug syndicate is now relying more on maritime routes, and it's a matter of concern. Government sources have told NDTV that keeping security implications in mind, this case will be handed over to NIA from DRI soon. With Uma Sudhir and camera person Pooja Arya, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
In other news, the government has announced a soft launch of a single window system for investors who need government clearances. Here's what the minister had to say on this new national single window policy.
अभी तक 18 डिपार्टमेंट और 9 स्टेट्स जुड़ चुके हैं और काफ़ी और डिपार्टमेंट्स, लगभग 14 डिपार्टमेंट और शायद 5-6 स्टेट्स और लगभग तैयार हैं और आस्ते आस्ते अगले 2-3 महीने में जुड़ जाएंगे. बहुत बड़ा संयुक्त प्रयास रहा है, पर जैसा मैंने कहा पूरा वॉलंटरी है. हमने किसी पे थोपा नहीं है कि आपको ज्वाइन करना है, आपको टाइमलाइन देनी है या डीम्ड अप्रूवल देना है. अलग अलग राज्य का प्रियोरिटेटिव है, अलग अलग मंत्रालय का प्रियोरिटेटिव है.
Well, moving to other news, today Mahant Anand Giri is now the main accused in what could be the murder of a revered seer who died a few days ago, the head of the Akhada Parishad, a massive governing bodies of saints. He was his main disciple. Today he was arrested. Sanket actually explains who exactly is Mahant Anand Giri and the controversial nature of his involvement in this entire case, and also questions being raised about the so-called suicide note written by the Mahant who died. By the seer who died.
So as far as Anand Giri is concerned, he is the main accused. He's been arrested by the UP police. But is he a stranger as far as getting arrested or living a flamboyant life? Look at these pictures on your screen right now. He's been arrested in Australia a couple of years ago. He was accused by 2 women where he had gone to teach yoga. 2 women accused him of harassment. He was arrested, jailed, and then he finally came out. But in these pictures you can see that Anand Giri is quite a flamboyant sadhu. He's fond of foreign trips, expensive cars. There are pictures of Anand Giri in convertibles, in fancy BMW bikes. The young sadhu, it's very clear, is trapped in all material comforts, and he likes to live this Uber life, flamboyant lifestyle, flies business class. All of those things can be seen right now, and he's definitely a saint who loves his Ferrari, as you can see in these pictures. Now, this is one aspect of his life. Remember, one of the things that is being investigated right now is a possible money angle. Was this sadhu, Anand Giri, blackmailing Mahant Narendra Giri to give him money so that he can afford this luxurious lifestyle? I think that's the big question.
Thanks, Sanket. Many questions now being raised over this, likely to be a political issue in the UP elections as well. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is facing an election very soon. This, of course, an election for her own seat. So, speaking today in her first campaign, she said that she'll tell the Prime Minister and Home Minister Amit Shah that she won't let India become a Taliban state. So, it's not about local issues. Mamata Banerjee clearly making it about national elections. This as central ministers are campaigning for the BJP candidate here as well.
Mamata Banerjee hit the streets herself with her first meeting in Bhawanipur's Khidarpur area, where she set a clear agenda.
हम खेलेंगे, हम नरेंद्र मोदी जी, देखो अमित शाह भैया जी, मैं तो आपको भैया कह सकती हूँ कि ये हमारा काटीसी है, लेकिन ये बात मत समझो कि इंडिया को अब तालिबान बना देंगे और सबको गाली देंगे, ये हम नहीं करने देंगे।
Mamata Banerjee launching a vigorous campaign for September 30, elections just days away. But what she has made clear in her fiery speech is she is fighting in the Bhawanipur constituency, sure, but her eyes are firmly set on New Delhi in 2024. Sheer coincidence, on his first outing as BJP Bengal's new boss, Sukanta Majumdar also made Bhawanipur his pit stop, going door to door for his candidate Priyanka Tibrewal, but ending up locking horns with the police, apparently because he was campaigning too close to the Chief Minister's house with too many people.
पिछली बार लोकसभा चुनाव के समय ममता बनर्जी अपनी बूथ में 200 से ज्यादा वोटों से पीछे थी। इसलिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि बीजेपी के लोग वहां ना जाए और वो वोट जीत जाएंगे। इस बार ममता बनर्जी को हम दूसरी बार हार का जो मजा होता है उनको चखवाएंगे।
With the BJP brigade fanning out in strength and Mamata Banerjee tossing out a high decibel challenge, Bhawanipur has suddenly turned high voltage. With G.D. Shankar and Anirudh Tripathi, Monadeepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Ex-Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh issued a strong statement today, virtually declaring open war against both Navjot Singh Sidhu and the Congress. He said that he will not let Navjot Singh Sidhu become Chief Minister of Punjab, that he will field a strong candidate against him. He referred for the first time to the Gandhi siblings, saying, "They're like my children, it shouldn't have ended like this, I'm hurt." He also attacked what he called a Congress coterie, naming the K.C. Venugopal, Randeep Surjewala and Ajay Maken. So far, there's been no response from the Congress. Amrinder Singh also said that Navjot Singh Sidhu is dangerous for the state, that he had given his resignation letter to Sonia Gandhi 3 weeks ago. He was ready to leave after a victory, but never after a loss. Well, today in Assam, on World Rhino Day, the Assam government publicly burnt over 2,000 rhino horns in 6 giant furnaces. The message, a strong message there against poaching of rhinos, and make the point that rhino horns, which are falsely considered to have medicinal properties, are actually useless. So the rhino is killed for his or her, for his horn.